My husband told me that if I wanted stability in our relationship, then I needed to make it happen, but I can't make it happen if he is burnt out and refusing to get a job when we are about to move for our 26th and 27th time in 10 years. This is part genuine request for perspective/opinions and part getting it off my chest. My husband, 36M, and I, 35F, have been married 10 years. We have a good marriage and have never faced any truly difficult times. It'll be difficult to explain everything that goes into this, but I'm happy to expound in the comments. Basically, the last decade has largely been focused on achieving financial independence. I had never been a very business-oriented person until I met my husband. He is extremely entrepreneurial and his passion for it is catching. We have run our own businesses together and separately throughout our marriage. The goal has always been to make enough money on location-independent businesses we can live freely. Not necessarily retire, but have more freedom. Because of his encouragement, I'm now on a career path that could easily result in that. In 10 years, we have moved 25 times, all because better opportunities have presented themselves or current opportunities have dried up. We're now facing number 26 with number 27 not far away because number 26 doesn't look like that good of a prospect. Without giving away details, my business fluctuates greatly. I've had months where I pull in mid-five figures and long stretches of a few hundred. My career outside of this is food service with a very definite wage ceiling. My husband's career is professional and he can easily find a six-figure salary position. His current online business currently brings in low four figures. We have always relied on his going back to work when money runs low. He's in high demand, can practically snap his fingers and get a job. I cannot. Here's the conflict and where I'll try to eliminate as much of my bias as possible. My husband is completely burned out. He physically and emotionally can't deal with the stress of going to work right now. He has supported me through the last couple of years when my income has been low. I've always been aware of my financial contribution and make up for it by carrying the grand majority of the household chores. Even when I was working 60+ hours as a manager and pulling in half his wage. But as our savings are dwindling, it's looking more and more like I'll have to get a job. That means pushing my business to the back burner, working a physically demanding job, all for a quarter of the pay he could get. I'm not one to spend money. We didn't have a wedding. We bought my wedding band 3 years after we got married. I cut my own hair. I work from home in sweatpants. It's not as though I forced him to work jobs he hates in order to provide me with an extravagant lifestyle. I have worked jobs to help provide for us in the past, and even when my business isn't earning a ton, I still put in 50+ hours a week. I'm craving stability. Not permanence, just the feeling that I can unpack our boxes and not feel like I should save them in a closet knowing in 6 to 9 months I'll need them again. We've been child-free for years, but the last couple years the topic has been coming up more and more. Yet I feel it's impossible to even discuss the idea of starting a family in the face of such uncertainty. I miss my cats, they're living with my parents overseas. I want a fish tank and a place to hang pictures. He says, if you want those things, then make them happen. Which, fair enough. I completely agree with. I don't want to rely on him to provide the life I want, however it leaves me feeling a combination of emotions I can't really put a word to. I find myself going through mental exercises of, what would I do in this situation if I were single? How would I support myself? And I start to feel resentful. I'm not single. I'm married. And not only that, I'm not sure I can make enough money to support us. I desperately want him to find what it is he's meant to do. I don't care about the money or the dreams of financial independence if it means he's miserable trying to get there. He's been trying to work out which direction to change to for the past year and has yet to come up with anything solid. I know it's all about give and take, but I can't help but feel. I don't know. I don't have the words. And I'm at a complete loss as to how we resolve this. BTW, we have talked about all of this about 1,957 times already. There is nothing written here he hasn't heard before. Edit, I appreciate all the comments and opinions. This got a lot more response than I expected. Just a few things. It's difficult to sum up an entire life in a few hundred words. The moves have been for varied and obviously with 25 of them, multiple reasons. Some were because my husband was offered a good job. Others were to be nearer family. I've been pursing my side business for the last 3.5 years. The 7 prior to that I was in full-time employment, sometimes working a full-time job while also helping to run our own business. He has not financially supported me for 10 years. I'm not sure where people got MLM from, but I'm in a creative field. As I said, I don't want to reveal details, but I create products and then sell them online. We are not scam artists, nor do we have to leave town because people are catching on to our pyramid scheme, lol. As far as financials go, again, it's impossible to sum up 10 years of income. But we go through feast and famine periods. Times when money is flowing in and times when we live off what we've earned. We never live outside our means, and when money is good, we put thousands a month away to prepare for the down times. It's not a typical way of living, so I understand it's not easily relatable. Commenter 1. So, you both have entrepreneurial side businesses and full-time jobs? Plus moving every 3 to 6 months for the last 10 years? That would burn anybody out. I know financial independence is a dream, but it seems like if both put down roots, maybe for a specified time, like 4 years, and found stability, burnout wouldn't be a factor. Financially and emotionally, starting over takes a toll. I want to say make a plan, but sometimes you have to go with the flow, work a job and just make it day to day without trying to achieve large crushing goals of making it big with an entrepreneurial venture. Commenter 2. If you're trying to reach financial independence based on location independent businesses, why on earth do you have to move 25 times in 10 years? Why on earth are you moving for number 26 if you think you'll have to move again for number 27? It sounds to me like there is something wrong with how your husband is pursuing financial independence, and I'm worried that your husband is not so much entrepreneurial as chasing money schemes uphill and down dale. After 10 years of working on it, how close are you to your net worth goal? You sound very frugal. Surely after 10 years you have a solid nest egg, and are seeing that net worth start to grow through compound interest? Why do you say your savings are dwindling when his business brings in enough money to pay the bills? From a FI/RE perspective, this just doesn't add up. Even if this strategy really is working in a money sense, if you are sick of moving and long for stability, the strategy is not working for you or your marriage. I think your reaction to the current circumstances is about a bigger set of issues than just going back to work. You sound like you're at the end of your rope with a lot of things: moving, housework, children, and going back to low ROI work is the last straw. As others have said, your husband needs to treat his burnout. You sound burned out too. You both need to take a step back and look at your plans and lifestyle, through marriage counseling, financial advice, whatever will help you review with clear eyes and get on the same page. Your current plans and lifestyle are clearly not working for either of you. Update 1, 10 months later. I'm writing partly to sort all this out in my head and partly for outside perspectives. I don't even know what to think anymore. Again, I'm happy to explain any details that need fleshing out if it helps. I'll try to be concise, and I truly appreciate you reading. 9 months ago, I posted asking for help about my frustration with going back to work after my husband burned out in his career, previous post in my history. For the sake of anonymity, I try to be vague with the details, and many thought our work was on the dodgy side. I don't care about keeping it anonymous. All these factors are relevant. I'm an author, I self-published books and made a decent living doing it for several years. My husband is a software developer and mainly buys existing online companies and fixes them up to sell. When that's not working, he tries to work a normal 9 to 5, but typically lasts no more than 6 months. His last attempt was 1 day. My career before this was in the food industry, which means bad pay, long hours, and very sore feet. I got a job that pays 95% of the bills, the rest is covered by savings. Yeah, I'd rather be working for myself, but I like it. I'm good at it. It's the first time I actually enjoy going to work. For the last few months, I've been slowly changing, and it feels like my husband and I are drifting apart. At first I thought it was a natural phase. Things will definitely feel different compared to working under the same roof all day and night. Now, I don't know. From the previous thread, he says, if you want those things, then make them happen. Which, fair enough. I completely agree with. I don't want to rely on him to provide the life I want, however it leaves me feeling a combination of emotions I can't really put a word to. I find myself going through mental exercises of, what would I do in this situation if I were single? How would I support myself? And I start to feel resentful. I'm not single. I'm married. And not only that, I'm not sure I can make enough money to support us. I am making enough money to support us, and it feels good. It's given me confidence in a way I haven't had before. But, it's also made something glaringly obvious in our relationship. We disagree on just about everything, and we have very little in common. I'm happy to work on my writing on the side while I work. He thinks I've given up on our dream and have settled for a world, the 9 to 5, MF world, he is loath to spend time in. He sold his business and is still figuring out what he wants to do next. I want to buy a flat in the city. He wants to move to the country, or use our savings to travel or live remotely. I want to settle for a while and make friends. He thinks there's plenty of time for that in the future. I want to make our home cozy and put up decorations like photos and artwork. While he likes it, he thinks of it all as just pointless stuff we shouldn't waste money on. I could go on, but you get it. It feels like literally everything I like, he hates. I've also realized that most of the moves, most of the big decisions were things I went along with. I'm not saying he bullied me or anything, just that I didn't feel too strongly one way or the other, so tended to go with what he wanted. Of course, we talked about it, but it rarely was me pulling in the bulk of the income, so I didn't feel like I had much of a say. Now I feel strongly about a life direction and have the ability to make it happen, and I feel guilty? He says I've changed, that he's the same as he's been, wants the same things he's always wanted. This is me altering the situation, which I agree with. But it's not like it's this massive bait and switch plan. Our entire marriage I've talked about settling down. I'm rambling. Here's the way I see it. We both love each other and genuinely want to make the other happy, which is why over 10 years, we've both compromised on choices that go against what we individually want. He goes to work for a little while so I can have a semi-stable home. I bounce around the world with him so he can discover himself and his career. But our tolerance for these periods have become too short to manage. He physically can't work for another person. I want to scream when I think about packing up my stuff and starting over again. Have we just spent so much of our marriage being distracted by the exciting newness of moving and pushing for financial independence, we didn't notice how little we have in common otherwise? I can't help but feel like this is on me, not my fault, per se, but on my shoulders. I'm the one rocking the status quo, and if I want things to balance out, it's up to me to adjust my expectations. Commenter: You guys sound super incompatible. Is this really the man who you imagine building the life you want with? If you want a chance to keep this marriage afloat, I'd seriously consider couples counseling to see if you can find compromises here that both of you can agree to. If you can't find those compromises, then you should seriously consider moving on. Yeah, I want to continue my life with him. I love him, I like him. We do enjoy each other's company. I really think these problems are probably for a professional. Update 2, 7 years later. I was recently cleaning out my bookmarks and found this old throwaway, and obviously the 2 posts I made with it. I'm not sure why now, but I feel compelled to write a follow-up. Maybe it'll give people the bravery to change, or at least an example of how sticking with what you know isn't always the best choice. And obviously, very long story short, with the help of those posts and a lot of long nights of thinking, I left my husband. In fact, it took him going away for a long weekend to realize how much happier and at peace I felt without him around. At first the split was amicable, but looking back I think he was just waiting for me to come rushing back to him once I realized my mistake. When that didn't happen and he could see I was actually serious about building a new life for myself, a switch flipped. We only spoke when he needed something from me, and eventually that stopped too. Enough about him. I'm now 42, happier and healthier and more satisfied than I've been my whole life. I picked me, and that was the best choice I could have ever made. I lived alone for the first time, and my God, the peace of having my own space. Unrivaled. I ended up staying in that apartment for 5 years, not a moving box in sight. I put art on the walls, I knew my neighbors. I made a home. I grew my career and went back to school. Made friends, built a little community. I've done a ton of therapy and realized that the abusive patterns my parents created in childhood were just repeating with my ex. I fell in love, a real love, a supportive love that encourages growth and security. I'm doing new work that helps people and is so much more than just chasing money. All of those things have created a life that's more rewarding than I ever thought possible for myself. I've gone through some really bad times too: illness, cancer scares, loss. But I have no idea how I would have come out the other side without the community I built around me. Even something as simple as people at your local coffee shop recognizing you is a comfort after feeling adrift and alone for so long. Anyway, if I were to respond to myself from 7 years ago, this is what I would say. Leave the loser. He doesn't care about you, never did. He only cares about what you can do for him, and now that you aren't serving him, well, just go. You are capable of doing difficult things, and you are worthy of the work it takes to accomplish them. Trust your abilities, trust your gut, it's been screaming at you for years now, honey. Life can be so much more than you've experienced, but you have to make it happen for yourself. Commenter 1. This is as close to fairy tale ending as this world provides. I'm so happy for you. Commenter 2. I got halfway through the first post and was already side-eyeing the husband. 25 moves in 10 years, all chasing better opportunities? He can snap his fingers and immediately get a highly paid job anytime he wants, but hates working for other people? That's not being a business-oriented, highly driven entrepreneur, that's chasing the new shiny thing and discovering that it's not as fun as it looked, over and over and over again.